Ronda is a mountaintop city in Spain that's set above a deep gorge. It is one of the oldest cities in Spain. The gorge, El Tejo, separates the city's circa 15th century new town from its old town dating back to Moorish rule. Puente Nuevo, a stone bridge spanning the gorge, has lookouts offering great views. It is by far Ronda's most famous landmark. New bridge was actually completed in 1793 and took 42 years to build. You can also see in this photo one of the city's most recognizable landmarks, Plaza de Toros, the oldest bull ring in Spain. This Google Earth animation shows you the location of Ronda in southern Spain, in a lush valley surrounded by mountains. The town is 43 miles as the crow flies from the British territory of Gibraltar and has a population of 35,000, which makes it about the same size as Bay City, Michigan. I just want to point out the major areas of the city. The area in red is the old Moorish part of the city, and it's on a small mesa. The pink area is on a plateau with steep sides to the west. The modern-day construction is for the most part restricted to the blue areas. Let's take a look at the feature that makes this an amazing place to visit. The steep, dramatic cliffs at the western edge of the city. The deep gorge that cuts the city into two also creates steep cliffs, offering additional interesting views to explore. The location of this city must have been based on how the small mesa provided an excellent defensive position against attack from enemies. Just look at how the old town was protected by either steep cliffs and/or walls completely circling around the town. The first and lowest of the three is called the Roman Bridge. The second bridge is called Old Bridge or Arab Bridge. Visitors in Moorish times to Ronda would have entered the city via the first and only bridge. A bathhouse is located just past the bridge to allow visitors to cleanse themselves before entering the city. This is what the restored bathhouse looks like today. The Arab baths in Ronda are the best preserved in Spain. They were built at the end of the 13th century. American artists Ernest Hemingway and Orson Welles spent many summers in Rodanda. As part-time residents of Rodana's Old Town Quarter, both wrote about Rodana's beauty and famous bullfighting traditions. Hemingway's novel, For Whom the Bell Tolls, describes the execution of nationalist sympathizers early in the Spanish Civil War by throwing them from cliffs, most likely the cliffs of this town. Our visit to Rodanda is going to concentrate on the oldest part of the city, the part that Ernest Hemingway and Orson Welles loved so much. We're going to visit the old part of the city by taking a street-level drive-through that'll allow us to see the neighborhoods up close. But first, what we'll do is we'll just zoom in down to the main entrance, and once we get down to the ground, we're going to do a 360 and take a look around. We're just going to look around and see what the front of the gate area looks like. Not much is going on here. There is a plaza. Doesn't seem to be much in it. There's a traffic roundabout right before the entrance. The fortress has two entrances. The one on the right is for pedestrian traffic, and the entrance on the left is for single-lane vehicle traffic. Once you get inside, there's a small plaza with some outdoor eating. The street is very narrow, so we'll try not to run over any of the tourists. Another small plaza area where you get to turn around if you need to. Finally, we make it to the main road that had snaked around the fortress. We will be taking this road straight through the town with the exception of a detour to visit a large plaza. Coming up on the left is the pedestrian entrance to the large plaza. Off to the right there's an outdoor eating place, and next to it is a museum that specializes on information about bullfighting. This is the main entrance into the plaza area. Lots of outdoor eating available in this plaza. There's a small church next to this eating place. This guy is pointing to something. Let's go see what it's all about. It's a really large church with an amazing interior. You can tell this church is used by the fans they have mounted up on the columns, as well as the modern day speakers. The large building off to the right looks like some kind of governmental building. There's another church up on the left that anchors the plaza. Well, that's the plaza. Let's go down on the main road again. The corners of buildings usually contain little shops, little stores. Halfway along our road trip here, there's a major museum that we get to go inside of. And this museum contains all sorts of miscellaneous historical type items. It's got an amazing photography section. Off to the right, there's some shops that are selling leather goods. This part of Spain is really well known for its high quality leather products. Off to the right here, there's a large tile artwork, which is a picture of the town. We've gotten to the end of the Old Town area. The new bridge separates the oldest part of the town from the rest of the town, which is mostly old and it's worth visiting too. We started out looking back the way we came, and we will be looking towards where we plan to spend the second day of our visit. Off to the right is a large restaurant with seating that cascades down the cliffs and offers great views of the bridge and the gorge. Looking down into the floor of the gorge, I see some kind of mechanical device that might have been used to collect water. In front of us, on the left side of the bridge, is a patio with a lot of people. That's where we will head next for some great views. You can see the San Miguel restaurant cascading down from the cliffs. And to the right of it looks like it's all residential housing, which must be really expensive with such great views. Off in the distance you can see the mountains towards the north. Looks like there's another restaurant in this building. In the southern part of the town, there's a small plaza that has a overlook that gives you a great panoramic view of the valley below and the southern mountain range. There are all sorts of hiking trails inside the gorge, including an interesting one that's midway up the steep slopes of the old city. Let's take a look at it. This trail has a great view of the bridge from its base. It looks like there's some kind of trench for transporting water along the edge of the trail. In the old town, on the edge of the gorge, you can see a building with green roofs. That's La Casa del Rey Moro. It's an old palace that's open to the public and includes inside the so-called water mine. Let's go on a visit. The tourist entrance to the palace is this gate that allows entry into the garden area. The gardens give access to La Minta, the mine, an Islamic staircase of 231 steps which have been carefully cut into the rock and lead down to the water. For centuries, La Mina was the only source of water into the city, with slaves chained to the steps to pass water bags upwards. This water supply was a lifetime to the Moors during the various Christian sieges. These steps played a vital part in Ronda's history. It was at this point that Christian troops forced entry in 1485. For historical context, this is the year that Texas became part of the United States. Let's go do some hiking down in the floor of the gorge. At the end of the new bridge, there's a large building with the courtyard sunshade open. Let's zoom down and take a look around inside. This courtyard is really nice, but it's pretty boring. I see they put the sunshade back. The rest of the building seems like it's pretty much empty except for that restaurant on the outside. Looks like it might have been a church at one time. Well, that's enough of the old town. Tomorrow we will finish this visit looking around the southern edge of the city that goes up against the really steep cliffs. One of Spain's most famous Parador hotels, which are historic sites turned into luxury hotels, sits adjacent to the bridge. Since money isn't an issue for a virtual visit, let's get a room with unforgettable views of the bridge and the gorge. This has to be one of the best views from a hotel room anywhere in the world. It's been a long day, and boy does that bed look comfortable. I hope you had a good night's sleep. I did. The rest of our visit shouldn't take too much longer. There's not as much to see in this part of the town. The first place we're going to go to is Plaza de Toros de Ronda, the oldest bullfighting ring in Spain. It was built in 1784. To put that into context, in 1784, the U.S. Congress ratifies the Treaty of Paris with Great Britain to end the American Revolutionary War. The ring can hold up to 5,000 spectators. The origins of bullfighting was nothing like it is today. It had nothing to do with show and glitter. It was a training technique for the cavalry. They would train with bulls as a way to learn to fight against unpredictable opponents. Over time, it evolved to what we know now, largely due to the work of a family that lived in Ronda. They created bullfighting as we know it today.
You took my love for granted. Why, oh why? The show is over. Say goodbye. Say goodbye. Say goodbye.
There's an outdoor amphitheater located next to a small park up against the cliffs. Let's go take a look at it. With the nice warm weather in southern Spain, it's not surprising to find that they're setting up for an outdoor concert. Because of the western orientation, they must get to see some great sunsets at dusk. I think this qualifies. There is a very large park west of the bull ring, and it has a great overlook that we should check out. Near the end of the walkway, there's a nice hotel with an overlook that we will visit. Plaza del Socorro is the modern center of Ronda. It has parking under the plaza, and it's the last place we'll be visiting, so let's check it out at night. I don't know if the people hanging out at night are locals or tourists. Like most plazas, there's a church anchoring it.